Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to some EVE Online, and as you can see, welcome back to sisi for another mass test. CCP, Prismix and Hubakak have just put the channel in moderation, so we should be starting pretty soon. We have 430 people in local, that's not bad. And it is a pretty important test because CCP hopes that this will be the final test for Brain in the Box before it is actually deployed on TQ. Which, if all goes well, will be for next week. And considering the Poitot jump we had last week, which still resulted in a lot of tie-dye, although no client crashes to report, let's hope that we get a slightly smoother experience when we jump into Poitot in a little bit. For now, let's see. CCP Avalon is here as well. Let's just wait for the instructions to get started. As always, we usually start with a mass jump into XBV, then we go bash a boss. After that, I think they want to do 2 jumps just to make sure that everything is working correctly, and then we have a gate camp and a PvP fight at the end, which usually takes around 45 to 50 minutes, something like that. And other than that, let's see what's available here. We get a few titans, lovely Ragnarok and a Leviathan in red. I don't really like that. It's a little bit too bright, too colored, I feel, for the EVE universe, especially on such a big ship. But, well, some people do like the skins, of course. So there we go. And other than that, we've got, again, quite a few dreadnoughts and carriers available here as well, so I think we will get through the boss at a decent pace. And in the meantime, here we go. Welcome to the mass test. The gate is starting to be well populated. I am again in an Armageddon. I did quickly put a skin on it so that it would be a little bit different than previously, and I just quickly fit something together. Oh, actually, I'm in a fully passive one. Let me see here. Fitting. Oh yeah, actually made a mistake. I should really... Let's see, we are starting in a few minutes, so I think that I still have time to get rid of that. Let's go to the station and grab ourselves an armor rep, because it's actually pretty important to have a bit of a self-sufficient tank here as well. So off we go. Normally I'll still be on time, and otherwise, well, I know the way things tend to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, those are actually the control towers. That's all right. And I'm having a hard time actually getting out of this ball. Let's see if there's any way for me to fly out of this. Let's go. Bump. Well, that's a first. Completely stuck in the huge ball at 0 at the gate. Yeah, there we go. Get some speed going. Keep going forward, little battleship. You can do it. All of those really big ships here. So there we go. Some blob navigation. Let's hope that I'll actually still be on time. Station, dock. It should be possible now. Yeah, that's a nice big group, almost 500 people now. I did see a few tweets go out that they wanted a lot of people, because this is hopefully the final test, of course. In the meantime, we get a couple more Leviathans on field as well. So the Kaldari are well represented. And am I still having trouble here? Come on. Yeah, I'm actually still having trouble. Let's do a quick boost of the micro warp drive, then I should be able to go. And I'm not sure where I got this fit, because now that I look at it, I also have small Nosferatus in here. So this is a pretty weird one. But at least get a couple rapid heavy missile launchers, that's correct, and I've got all the drones I need, so it should be okay. If you find any bugs, please tell us. Oh dear, it's actually going to take such a long time for me to get in warp. Even now, as you can see, I'm actually completely free from everything. I should be able to go while we have a roar call coming in. Come on, get into warp. Station is dead ahead. PvP is not allowed during... If you don't report bugs, they show up on the queue. Okay, alright. And I'm finally in warp. I'll bet I'll be late for the jump this time. But yeah, they're really pressing the matter that it's pretty important that we report any bugs and problems that we see, because this is, as CCP Seagull has said at eVegas, this is pretty much open heart surgery on the heart of EVE Online, and it's really important to get that right with as few bugs as possible. So let's quickly get over there, grab an armor rep, and hope that we're still on time. Well, we still have quite a few people here, but well, Legion, a cockroach as well. He still, I think, will need to get in position for the Sino. So I actually think that I could still be on time. Go, go.
Docking permission requested.
On a busy server that also takes a bit more time. And that's actually a session change, so let's see how Brain in the Box handles this one.
Docking request accepted.
Okay. At least I'm here. Do I have a rep in here? Let me see. Large remotes. Large armor rep 2. There we go. Let's just put that in here and then try to get back. Yeah, 536 is pretty good, I think, indeed, for a mass test. It also means that it's probably going to be, oops, XBV warp within 0. It's going to be pretty tough for the server and for us as well, as everything goes on, but hopefully it will work out. In this case, we can expect some lag, even if Brain in the Box is reducing jump lag. Don't despair if you see heavy tie-dye. Okay. And at least this warp was pretty smooth. So it is true, of course, with 540 people probably jumping from node to node when they go to Poitot. That was one of the comments on the previous mass test. That could be the reason why the first jump went very smoothly and then the Poitot jump brought us into tie-dye and into trouble. I think that could be because we jump from one server node to another, so it's extra hard. But that's all part of the testing, of course. And here I arrive back in the blob, which is now slowly loading grids, one ship at a time. But that's still okay. Oh, and I should really also add the frames per second counter here. So that's still okay, despite everyone present here. And now we just wait for the jump. Phew, I made it on time. Actually see a little bit of firing happening here. Yeah, someone is actually firing at the Titan from a Raven. Oh, it's actually from a Golem. I mean, it's not like he's going to do a lot, but should keep the PvP out of the testing as requested. Man, he should just doomsday that golem. That would be... Get ready in about 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. Testing is going to start. I am actually ready. So zoomed out 50, even almost 60 when I'm really zoomed out and there is nothing actually visible. 3, 2, 1, jump. All right, just press the button. That was okay. There are the sinos, and let's see how this works. Yeah, again, very, very smooth. Just like during the last test, this jump into XBV used to have a little notifier that you would need like 180 seconds, something along those lines. It never took that long, but you did get a warning that the server can't handle it. And this jump here, super smooth. Especially considering the number of people we've had here. So that's looking really nice. Let's get distance going. Align to the boss warp in and distance back out. And so we should be ready. Let's see if we actually get some sinos here, because despite 370 people in local, I'm not seeing too many of them loading on the grid. Here's a sino. There's a few more. Aha, it is tie-dye. So 46% tie-dye. Okay. Well, if you see something like this, obviously you're gonna get a little bit of tie-dye. That's actually pretty damn impressive. Look at all those carriers and dreadnoughts. Just one big ball of light. That's actually really, really cool looking. That was nice. That was very nice. So obviously next we align to the boss warp in, which I think 500 coming in local. We'll get through that pretty quickly. Unless tie-dye, well, tie-dye is gone already. So yeah. You could say that this tie-dye is just due to the numbers. Just like 10-15 seconds ago we had an empty grid that I was sitting on, and now look at it. It's just absolutely full of ships. And we didn't crash. I just saw a little flickering of something. Look at that. Decloaking of some of the ships here as well. Lovely effect. Yeah, EVE Online is absolutely a really beautiful game. And this, I must say, is pretty impressive. Although, like at this view, when you can just see the sun and then you just see the number of ships that are around here, that is really, really impressive to fly amongst them. Every single dot here is a ship, is a player. That's a sandbox feeling you don't really get in any other game. And here I am. It's actually a battleship, a decently large ship, and yet as you can see I'm just this small little cog in the big wheel. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Warp to the beacon. I'm actually going to witness the warp before. Oh well.
Warp drive active.
Non-locality actually put me in a fleet warp, so here we go. I almost don't like the fleet warp because everything just moves in such a uniform way. When the first part of the warp, when you saw people that were faster and individually had clicked, they all warped off like a fraction of a second from each other. That was very cool. Although of course this is pretty cool as well. To watch your ball with Nixes and carriers, dreadnoughts, battleships. A couple of yeah, here's a nightmare over here. Is that a Hecate? No, that's actually a rattlesnake. Hecate is way smaller than that. Here's maybe something smaller. Yeah, Slipnir. There's a Myrmidon. There we've got probably like a Vixor, an Ogre Navy issue actually. yeah, just look at the scale of some of the other ships. Fleet is forming Voltron. The one thing that I don't really like about this, that big ball of iron that you form then, where obviously, you know, clipping and everything is out of the rules for this. But at least when we went going, that was amazing, really cool. Local 540. Yeah, this is definitely one of the bigger tests. So I'm actually going to zoom out preemptively because this is going to be pretty tough on server and client when we arrive on grid. Now it's going to need a little bit of time to actually load the POS. There it is. People are probably already firing at it, so I will try to lock it right now. That went okay. Failed for some reason. Now it is locked, and yeah, look at that. We have yet to really arrive on grid and shields are half gone already. In the meantime, I probably take a few smart bomb hits. I'll just add my missiles to it, if they can even reach that far. Let's see, 54 kilometers, they can just reach that. And then I'm gonna try to fly away from this. From this big ball, just try to be a little bit free of everything. But yeah, my DPS really won't be needed on this POS bash. This will go pretty quickly. But you can see the drop in performance here, 15 frames, 16 frames per second, something like that, even decently zoomed out. I mean, this is just me, but I don't feel comfortable putting the camera right in the middle of all of that. It's just a little bit too much. When it's 200-300 people, you can usually do it. You also get performance that's still close to 30 frames per second from this view. But when it's like this, you know, when you've got almost 600 people that are using their modules firing at this boss, yeah, it just, you can maybe tell it when I'm moving the camera around here. It's all a little bit more, yeah, just feels harder for the client to actually do that. And so if I would like zoom in and go right in on the action, probably would not be too good of an idea. In the meantime, I think I'm slowly getting away from the big ball, and we don't have tie-dye though. That's pretty amazing. I must say, I've had smaller tests where tie-dye did kick in for this. So no tie-dye, 566, probably more than 500 people bashing that boss. It's really dropping like a brick. And yeah, looking pretty good, of course, for what we're actually asking the server to handle here.
Run out of charges.
And someone, unfortunately, has been jumping to XBV for 7 minutes. So it could be, I mean, considering everyone is here, everyone is bashing the boss. I mean, look at how fast they're going through the armor here. Ticks of 7% or 5 to 7%. So this will be done, you no problem. It could just be that person's client hanging. But of course, you shouldn't be able to text add stuff in local then. So it's a little bit weird. Here is the boss going down. My missiles are loaded. And now, of course, with this much going on, it takes a little while for the server to actually acknowledge the explosion. There is some tie-dye. 82%, still not too bad. So there is a slight slow motion explosion of the boss. And a little artifact that still remains. Performance climbs back up now, of course, without all the firing, but I would say that this felt really good considering the size of the fleets here. So next up should be Poitot alignment. Let's do that. And yeah, that's just absolutely huge. And we do get like some offensive stuff happening, but well, consider that a part of the test, I guess. Something... Oh, those are actually POS modules, I think, that are exploding. This is the biggest mass test I've ever seen. It feels like my laptop video card is going to melt. Yeah, this is pretty tough, let me tell you, both for the client and for the server. Having almost 600 people on grid doing stuff, I think that's pretty understandable. If I'm not mistaken, regular MMO servers have a population of maybe 4 or 5 that, all distributed across an entire server. So warp to the point dot gate and hold at the gate. So we can do that. Point dot warp within 0 should be correct.
Warp drive active.
So performance takes a little bit of a hit again until I actually get off grid. There we go, big performance drop. Taking off of a grid like that does demand something. And off we go, back to 60 frames per second. Here the movement is what you would expect. Doesn't feel like it's actually struggling to follow my commands here anymore. So at least that's okay. No tie-dye to spot. But this next jump, this I think is going to be a pretty interesting one and a pretty important one. Last time, I would say 15 to 20 seconds on the jump animation, and then yeah, tie-dye up to like just 20% or something like that. So it was pretty bad, and this time I think we have almost twice as many people that are gonna do the jump. So expect this to be pretty tough. In the meantime, let's see if we can actually spot some people coming out of warp from the star. That's pretty cool. There's actually a Titan and then a Dreadnought coming in on the other side. And look at that, here's probably a couple of fleet warps. That is pretty cool. I think if you see a fleet like that coming for you, that would be pretty interesting. And of course they just keep coming. That's so many dreadnoughts. I'm gonna melt in the first 2 minutes of the PvP fight, I think. You just look for a stationary battleship and in a couple shots you're gone. So yeah, this is the one thing though, when you all land on the gate and there's a couple of Titans amongst them, everything is just clogged up in one big ball. So let's see how this jump will work out. And as I said previously, it did not go as smoothly as the first jump, and it could be that we're actually jumping to a different node just to see how the server would handle something like that. And that would of course make it both understandable that the experience is much worse, and that they actually want to test this separately. So let's see. I think they'll ask people to approach the gate as well, because some of them are quite a distance off. In fact, I'm also being bumped away from that slowly. I'll actually do an orbit at 1000 now, which I should be able to hold. And there's at least a few people that are also, you know, here I'm trying to focus on the recording, but it's not just brain in the box. They also want to see that everything works out okay with skills, because that is, yeah, obviously brain in the box, a big part of it is recalculating your skills after a jump, and so you wouldn't want to like lose skill points on a jump. And there's My stats seem overtuned. Not sure what all of that means, but oh yeah, could be like the bonuses that he gets from the fleet. That bubble should not be here and will be taken off pretty soon, I think. Let's see if I get some weird offensive numbers here. That's actually quite a lot. 662 drone DPS and 307. CCP Sledgehammer is ready, okay. In a system where we'll have the fight, but that seems like a lot actually. Potential damage output from drones. I'll have to take a look because I have a very similar ship. Well, it's actually 2 drone damage amplifiers, so it could be. But that's interesting. I'll have to do a quick comparison compared to my ship on TQ, and then I'll be able to say. It feels just a little high, but it could be that it's actually alright. $584 by now, so yeah, very close to 600. And we actually have some people that are already, I think, jumping to Sledgehammer's Sino. Get ready to jump, understood. And let's see how this one goes. 3, 2, 1. Jumping. So I clicked, at least that went alright. Got a lot of noise. Here we go. This is going to be the interesting part. How long will it take? Do we get the message? We get tie-dye. 82%, that's definitely not so bad. 68% now. But yeah, first 10 seconds I would say I've passed here. 56%. So you can clearly tell that there is a big difference between jumping into Poitot and jumping into XBV. Now tie-dye at 46%, so more than half. Still don't get a message, but I'm around 20 seconds, and here I feel the jittering of me actually probably loading into the other system. Yep, there you go, because the cloak timer comes up, I'm in, but the tie-dye is at 31%. So it's actually 70% time dilation. Align F6. Stargates F6. Align 2. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that this is, you know, even CCP Habakkuk here says that this is probably a very slow jump. So this is probably about trying to see how the servers would handle something like that. Yeah, jumping possibly from node to node, hardware to hardware, something like that. It's not unexpected. It does mean that I get this cool Sino footage here. We are 456 in the system now. Oh man, that's just look at that. That's really cool how the that red spreads then. That's just very, very nice. So everyone will be aligning, and then next up we'll have the fight in F6, I think. At least, you know, it's not like it crashed or it felt like there was something completely wrong during this jump. It just took a long time and we had this tie-dye kicking in. So that's all that really happened. Let's take a quick look at the numbers maybe. If I can actually click on fitting, there we go. Again, 662, 307. Actually starting to think that with 2 drone damage amplifiers, this is actually normal. But I will do a quick comparison to be safe on TQ as well after the test. And here again, Fleet starting to grow. Performance-wise, this looks okay to me. You know, 30 to 40 frames per second. With everything that's happening, tie-dye is gone as well, so the server seems to have been able to catch up. 514 local. Keep in mind, these are pretty big numbers, and considering those, I don't think that this is all that bad either. Fleet W, do not jump. Okay. Let's see here. Stargates warp within 0.
Warp drive active.
There they go. Off we go. So maybe they want to have like a smaller jump. Honestly, fleets at 250, I still think that that gives them the opportunity to put some strain on the servers and to see what happens when 250 people in fleet actually take a jump like that. So all of this is of course part of the testing. It's really important, and at least from my perspective here, just playing the game I would normally play the game, I would say. No, I'm not the type of player that would really be busy with his skills, trying to maybe min-max that, or be super busy with implants to try and improve the performance depending on the fit or anything like that. I'm not really that kind of player. I just, you know, I have my all-around setup that I tend to fly, and a ship that can do a little bit of everything, and then I just play the game. So from that perspective, this all does seem to be working properly. So here is Fleet W. Do we have some Titans on our sides? It actually doesn't look like it so far. Let's take F6 as my selected item so that I can actually jump. Here comes some more dreadnoughts. But yeah, 253, that does mean that they have probably 350 members. Some more supers, but yeah, Fleet W tends to be the underdog, it seems. $590 seen in local. Yeah, really close to 600. Those are pretty good numbers for a test. And let's see if we can actually oh, there's actually a first Titan coming in. Hooray for the Fleet W Titan. Maybe he can doomsday some enemy ships for us. Oh, a second one, an avatar, which I had not seen hanging around before. It's also, in my opinion, like the best looking Titan. Fleet W, jump now, so we will press the jump button. That was a bit unexpected. So that was pretty smooth. Of course, it's possible that I'm amongst the first to notice, but I mean, this is just a regular jump of me playing alone at that speed. It could be that it is because I was first, so let's keep one eye on the tie-dye, see if that perhaps happens. But local is filling up pretty quickly here, almost at 200. 220, yeah, it's loading pretty well. I'm not seeing any tie-dye. Let's orbit this one at current. Activate some modules. And he, oh yeah, that was just a touch of tie-dye as I was activating the modules. I wasn't paying that close attention. Does it have something to do with it? I don't think so, of course. But there was just a little bit of tie-dye, and we are now at almost 270. So we probably have... I could send that guy back. I'm not really gonna do that right now. And of course, anyone that's not part of Fleet W is considered a valid target at this point. That's why CCP Hubagog said that those without a fleet should follow X. At least that means that now, if they come in the system together with Fleet X, that should be okay. But if they're in the fleet now, then we'll just start shooting them. But yeah, we'll see how everything goes with this fight. Here's the first bubble already. Performance here, there's some firing going on. There's 218 local, and even zoomed out I'm at like 30 to 40 frames per second, so it is pretty tough, of course. And the more people still have to come in, so we'll see. That's the Doomsday, so let's zoom in on that a little bit. That looks really cool. Straight up obliterating that Nagelfar, and the wreck showing up right away. That was pretty nice, pretty cool, and yeah, performed really well. Of course, I mean, your client will take a hit from everything that's happening here at the moment, but that was cool and worked nicely. So let's just wait for Fleet X, who will be coming in right now. So then I'll actually look for a couple of ships that I could try to tackle and try to fire upon that might arrive in range. Maybe, you know what, I'll try to send the capsule home. We're not seeing any tie-dye just yet. We do have a Raven Navy issue showing up here, so let's deploy some ogres. If I can, yep, tie-dye kicking in here. And let's fire some missiles at him. You guys go in there as well. What's the range on these small Nosferatus? Actually only 10 kilometers, so that's not really great. Maybe I should send Talon home. I think he was the Nagelfar pilot, so that could just be doing him a favor. Tie-dye is kicking in, local is jumping up above 500, 50% tie-dye. There's the Raven that's gone, and now yeah, let's start looking. There's a Phoenix that's a little bit big. Here we've got a Sin and another Nagelfar. Sin we could try. Alright, he's sent home, that's one less in a local. Here we've got Scorpion. Let's try and orbit him. Get on top of that. We also have a Rattlesnake. I'll target it. But yeah, expect Fleet X to be quite at a bit of an advantage. Performance is still 20 frames per second. Of course, it's because the tie-dye is now at 26%. So we are having a hard time doing much of anything. I gave the commands for points, missiles. The ogres did switch. But yeah, this is of course a tie-dye fight here with numbers like these. So 600, a lot of them in capitals and supers as well. So you've got huge amounts of drones, fighters, doomsdays, everything is just firing on all cylinders here. And that's why you get this kind of a performance. But let's see how it works out. Let's also maybe try and see if we can see some cool stuff like up there. That's a little bit weird. Can I zoom in on you? Yeah, my frames per second does take a big hit from that. Here's the camera actually just naturally zooming out, which usually doesn't take more than a second. But now of course it does. 568 in local. The fight is on. Is there anything? Claymore here. That would be good to target that. Something that I could actually handle. He's also decently close, so I'll give a command. Maybe I'll just give him an approach command. Let's see if that still works. Levy Booster, is that his name? Nope. Let's see when my command actually goes through. Approaching, yeah, okay, approaching Levy Booster's probably right. It's probably just the name of his ship. And yeah, I'm still targeting, but then I'll try to switch. So we'll go like this. We'll deactivate you guys. We'll reconfirm this. And it does seem to be working. So I can actually give my commands. So now I'm neuting him. The ogres are on him. Let's see if a cycle happens, and then keep fighting and report any bugs you encounter. I mean, sometimes of course you have to click again because of the huge tie-dye, but it does look like it's working. Now my frames per second is gone to 10, so that is of course pretty tough. But yeah, what would you expect with with a capital brawl like this? And then as a small battleship trying to do something. Let's see if we can actually do some damage to Oxt BM in a Claymore. Should be actually a decent target for me. Although I'm afraid to zoom in at this point, I'll be honest. I think we should play it out like this, just straight off the overview, stay far away. And he actually looks like he's approaching me. If he ever starts to pull back, then I'll activate micro warp drive, try to stay close to him. But yeah, he's slowly dying. Here we got a curse, which is pretty decent, I think, for me to tackle, and a Nighthawk as well. 568 still in local. Tie-dye is still, yeah, pretty strong, 32% here. So this is just a regular tie-dye brawl. And yeah, this is obviously one of the biggest mass tests we've had in quite a while. And this is why we're seeing this type of performance. Now tie-dye is trying to creep back down, so that is good. In the meantime, Claymore is in shields. Is local dropping? We lost 7 people from local. So the first few pots are happening as well. But that just takes more time to get through this now because of the huge tie-dye and the huge number of people. Still, if CCP wanted to have a good test of their server, I think this is it. In the meantime, I'm actually being targeted, so I'm going to start repping. Maybe I should try broadcasts. Where are they again? Been so long since I've actually... maybe it's better not to bother considering it's obviously something pretty big that's actually neuting and firing at me. Yeah, those are pretty big hits. Last thing that I'll try and do is just overheat the low rack, overheat the top rack as well. Try to at least kill the Claymore, but I mean, considering how fast this is going, I'm pretty sure it's actually a dreadnought that's firing at me, so pretty soon I'll take a big chunk again. Tie-dye, what's that at? 39%, very slowly going down. Still 562 in local, quite a bit. He's down. We're moving up on the curse next. That is reloading, that's alright, but yeah, I'm not long for this battle anymore. Oh my god, don't zoom in. Don't zoom in. That just look at the performance drop here. Best thing to do, go look for the gates so that I can try to fly towards it in my pots. Where, well, okay, it doesn't matter that much anymore, considering that they're already putting me through my armor in no time. Even misses from my ogres. We don't like to see that. My cap is gone. I could try to inject and then try to cycle, but I doubt I'm actually gonna make it. But yeah, this is like a tie-dye brawl for you. I must be honest, it's not the part of EVE Online that I enjoy the most. But it's definitely a part of it. If you play in NOSEC with huge coalitions, stuff like this does tend to happen. And here with, still 550 people in local. I'm losing my ship here. At least we got on top of that claymore, so that's good. And I've been paying attention to the targets. Oh dear God. I'm actually gonna have to reject that at this point, because that's just not doable. Then let's take a Stargate. It's actually going to take me a while, but I can try to jump to Poitots. And I'm actually sort of hoping that they're gonna send me home before that, because tie-dye is still at 31%, local is still at 550. Yeah, this is pretty tough on the server. Hopefully CCP gets some good information from this, but even trying to turn the camera around is not doing it any favors. Best thing to do is actually to zoom out as far as I can here and just wait. Just wait until I maybe reach the gate. Or should I just not put you guys through all of that? It's actually probably going to take quite a bit of time. How far from the gate would I be? Let's see if I can actually find a gate icon here. Not really seeing it. At least I can decently browse through the overview. Here it is. Oh, it's actually only... Okay, we could just make that. I need to lose the weapon timer as well, which is set at 33 seconds, which is going to take quite a bit longer with this. Still tied at 41%. But maybe we could jump. And it could again be a decent test of brain in the box if I can actually jump out. How quickly does that go? And how is the loading of the grid on the other side? That was to be expected. I just need to wait for this timer to go down. 547, man, this is indeed one of the most massive mass tests, and pretty heavy tie-dye because of that. 13 seconds, slowly, very, very slow 13 seconds here. And let's see if I can make the jump back. I think that could be a good test here. Another 7, 6. That's log off timer, that's alright. 4. And that's the weird thing, of course. I mean, it's now taking probably almost a minute for those 30 seconds to pass. And in the rest of the universe, time is actually going on normally. That one is gone. Let's see if I can jump. Just gave the command. Oh dear, poor camera, if he's gonna try to zoom in on that. Ooh, ouch, ouch, ouch. So, right in the middle of the brawl here. And we're pushed through. And we're loaded. We're back at 60. We get decent responsiveness once again. Let's quickly do a tracking camera, select a couple of ships here. But yeah, that's actually looking okay. So, you know, I don't have that much experience with big brawls like that, but as long as that performance is actually to be expected with 600 people, I would say that for me all of this felt pretty normal, decently good performance. And in fact on the jump to XBV, which I think that the Poitot jump is actually the one with yeah, the extra difficulty for the servers. Not exactly sure what that's going to be technically, but the other jumps went really smoothly in my experience. So to me this is looking quite okay. I'll have a quick look at the stats on some of the ships, maybe compare that with TQ. There's bound to be more people to do that as well. But I would say that this mass test has been going quite nicely, especially for almost 600 people in the test. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.